Barnes, Delgado,
Here.
Dial, Fasella,
Present.
Hannon,
Here.
Nudo,
Here.
Chaplin.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Okay, we moved, whoopsie, I skipped a slot. Yeah, but 4 is a quorum. And there's 4 of us. Actually, there are 5 of us.
Good thing we came.
Can we proceed to the next agenda item, which is approving the agenda?
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as distributed. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, please say no. The agenda is approved. We now move to the public hearing for the Rebuild Illinois Capital Grant Program. The primary purpose of this hearing is to receive input from the public on a project for which financial assistance is being sought from the Illinois Department of Transportation. The grant application consists of the following project: the purchase of 10 diesel-electric buses to replace buses that have reached their useful lifetime. Beginning on July 8th, 2022, the project description was posted on the district's website, www.mtd.org, under Public Hearings for public review. The notice of public hearing appeared in the News Gazette on July 15th, 2022. Are there any comments from the public on the Rebuild Illinois Capital Grant programs? This is an opportunity to make a statement to the Board of Trustees as a whole. We do not answer questions. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. If there are no comments, I declare the public hearing on the Rebuild Illinois Capital Grant Program is closed. Okay. We move on to audience participation. Anything, Beth? Anything, Carl?
No, I didn't receive anything.
Okay. We're moving right along here. Next item is to approve the minutes of the board meeting of...
Seconded.
Wait a minute here. Can I get the sentence out first? I'm going to say that again. Approval of the board meeting minutes of June 29th, 2022. It has been moved and seconded to approve the board meeting minutes from June 29th, 2022. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. The minutes are approved. Any communications? Nope. Okay, and then let's move on to the report of the managing director.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. This is going to be a fun meeting, I can tell. This report is on June statistics. There were 317,937 rides in June of 2022. And compared to June of last year, that is an increase by about 20%. And the total ridership for FY 2022 was 7,338,280, and this is just about twice the ridership of the previous fiscal year of 3.4 million rides. So the next chart you can see there, you can see 2019 pre-pandemic. For June, 414,000 rides, and then we fell off the pandemic cliff for 2020, and you can see that we are building back each month, and so that is a positive upward trend that we're seeing there.
We may make it this year.
Sorry?
We may make it this year. Back to the
Get back even?
Well, June... So the question is, are we going to make it back to the 2019 level this year? No, well, my speculation would be that we would not. And generally, we look at the ridership on a fiscal year basis, and so June is the last month of the fiscal year. And so our June ridership of 7.3 million is, I'm trying to remember what the 2019, I think we have a chart in here and a couple of, the 2019 level was 11.6 million. So we're still quite a bit shy of that for the fiscal year. But we're headed in the right direction, Bruce. We're moving toward that. But it's going to take some time. All right, the monthly operating revenue for June was 229.3% below June of 2021. That may be shocking to you, but the reason that is like that is because at the end of the fiscal year, we did a reconciliation with the university because, as you recall, we have not provided the full level of service that we are under contract with the university to provide because of the employee shortage. So they paid their full amount, and then we did a year-end reconciliation to see how much service did we provide, and the difference we are refunding back to them. So that refund, it's really over the whole year, but we did it all in June, and so it looks goofy in June, and that reconciliation refund exceeds the amount of revenue we brought in for June. But if you look at the year-to-date number, that will look a lot better to you because we are 48% above the previous fiscal year. So that's about where we would expect to be given the amount of service that we had out on the street. Moving on to expenses. The June operating expenses were 5.2% below June of 2021, and the year-to-date operating expenses were 7.2% above FY 2021. The year-to-date operating revenue was $958,000 below budget, and that again is because of that reconciliation that we did with the university. We ended up paying them $1 million back, and so that makes up that difference. And we hadn't budgeted that because we budgeted them at full payment, which they made, and then we make this payment back to them, and so we are below budget. The operating expenses were $6 million below budget. And then just a note about the 4th of July parade. We had our employees put our annual 4th of July Freedom Celebration float in the parade, and it won first place this year. So congratulations to all the employees that were involved with that. They did a really good job, and then they braved the heat putting that together out there. And then the other note I have in the board packet that we were undergoing when I wrote this, we were undergoing the ISO, the 9001 and 14001 certification, the recertification audit. That was completed yesterday, and we had a perfectly clean audit with no findings in it. There were a couple of real minor, what they call OFIs, opportunities for improvement, but they're really suggestions, and we can either choose to take them or not take them. Although I think they were good suggestions, so they were just some suggestions on how to improve the systems that we'll take under advisement. But that's fantastic, and again, it is a testament to our group of employees. Staff and non-staff, the hourly employees alike, they get interviewed in this process, and everybody just hit it out of the park. It was really a great process, and it had a great result. And then my final note, a bit of bad news or sad news. You may have heard at this point that a longtime employee of the Mass Transit District, Rena Lenz, who had 40-plus years of employment with the district when she retired in 2014. She was the original, she was in the original group of hires with the district when the district was first formed in 1971. She passed away last week, and that is very sad news. Many of us on staff, Margaret, I know you worked with her as a board member while she was still on staff, and there are a lot of stories we could all tell. 40 years of employment, she saw it all over that time, so we're very sorry to lose her. And with that, I will take any questions through page 34 of the board packet.
Are there any questions from board members?
Just one on page 7 about the RFP.
Can you turn your microphone on?
The RFP that you were doing for the simulators,
Yes.
was that in the, that's in this year's budget, but not the future budget, right? We had that in budget somewhere?
It's actually been in, yeah, it's been in several, and we just have not been able to get to that project. We had some turnover in the, if you'll recall, the safety and training director. We had some turnover in that position, so the current safety and training director, Brendan Sennett, has been very interested in getting that going again, and so, yeah, now the RFP is back out, or is out.
And then one more quick comment on the next page about your advertising about the gasoline.
Uh-huh.
I think it's great. Keep doing it.
I was behind that bus
That'll
today when
change
I was coming.
ridership in itself.
Well, let's hope so. It looks good.
Just throw this out there. If there's any way they could send me copies of RFPs when they issue them, I'd like to just kind of know where we're going with stuff.
Yeah.
Would it be possible to get on a list?
Yeah,
or
we got the
something?
legal one to you. I don't know that we got this one to you. So, yes, I'll make a note and get that to you. You want any and all RFP that goes out?
Are they not posted on the website?
Yeah, I believe so. But we can get the link. We can get the link to Phil.
I'm not saying Phil shouldn't have a copy if he wants a copy,
Yeah.
but it seems to be that they.
I will do that.
Any other questions from members of the board? Okay. Then let's move on to our action items, the first of which is resolution number 2022-7, the Rebuild Illinois Capital Assistance Program. And the documentation is on page 35 of your packet.
Yeah, I'll be taking that. That is in reference to the public hearing that we had at the beginning of this board meeting. That is a requirement for the state Rebuild Capital Program. And this application that we are turning in is due on Friday. So this today's board meeting was perfect timing to get this resolution approved to be included with the grant application. It is for 10 hybrid replacement buses. These will be replacing buses that we purchased in 2011, and they are beyond their useful lifespan and ready to be replaced. We have, I believe, 33 of those 2011 buses, so these will be a welcome replacement for operators and maintenance alike.
Carl, while we're on it, excuse me for injecting something off budget, off topic. How are the hydrogen buses doing?
The hydrogen buses are performing well. They're both in service. We will be taking one of them out of service. It's a great question. I meant to thank you because it was a good reminder for me to tell you this. We're going to be taking one of them out of service because the manufacturer, New Flyer, has asked to borrow the bus, and they're going to trailer it to Ohio and to take it around to several transit properties in Ohio to showcase the bus and the technology. And so we will only have one bus for about a 2-week period of time while they do that, but they pay for all the expenses. They take care of it and fuel it and then bring it back for us. And so this is a good way for us to get that technology out in front of other transit systems to showcase how well it works. So we support that because the more buses that transit systems buy, then the more the price comes down. So that's good for us.
has the problem with the water in the fueling station been solved?
Yes, the water in the fueling station, that was actually resolved about a month ago. I'm not gonna be able to tell you what it was. I'd be willing to tell you if I knew, but I'm not remembering exactly what the problem was, but it was, I think in the electrolysis process, there was still some water captured, and then it was freezing in the fuel line. So it wasn't causing any damage. It was just restricting the flow of the hydrogen when we were fueling the buses. But they've gotten that all taken care of. The dryer system is working properly now and taking the moisture out of the hydrogen before it gets stored.
After presumably we will get these 10 buses from this grant request, what will be the oldest year of our buses? Are there still more from 2011, or
Yeah, so
how old will our oldest buses be?
technically, the oldest buses we have right now are the 2001 articulated buses that we have. Those replacement buses are going online in the next week or two, if they're not already. I think the frame is already being built. And our inspectors will be going up to the plant in the next week or two to start inspecting those. And so we should get those in September, and then those 4 buses will be out of service. And then the 2011 buses will be the oldest that we have. We've got 33 of those, and these will be the first 10 of that 33 fleet that will be replaced.
Carl?
How many,
Bruce?
Oh, yes, I overlooked the 2009 buses. We do have 4 2009 articulated buses too. We don't, however, generally speaking, run the articulated buses in the summers. We only use those when the U of I is in session. So the articulated buses don't get as much mileage on them, and so we tend to run them longer than we do the 40-foot buses. So we're not scheduling the replacement for the 2009 Arctics yet.
on the non-articulated buses, what's the typical terminal mileage?
By terminal mileage, do you mean like what's
you
the
retire.
maximum mileage that they run before we replace them?
Oh, when you replace them, right?
So, I mean, that really varies, and it varies in a couple of different ways. So I'll start with telling you that the federal definition, the federal defined useful life of a bus is 12 years or 500,000 miles. And we generally exceed both of those data points by the time that we replace a bus. You have to exceed one of them, but we generally exceed both of them by the time that we replace our buses. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow, 500,000 miles.
Alan, did you have?
Yeah, the resolution is silent on the dollar amount and the use. Is that standard? I mean, I guess I've read these and I never I read it was 7,150,000 and doesn't state
Yeah,
in there.
Yeah, so we put the dollar amount in our information to you. The state, this language is the state's language that they want the resolution. I think the reason that the dollar amount is not in there is because we're applying for 7.1 million, but that doesn't mean that they're going to give us 7.1 million. So we could end up getting, just making up a number, but you know, if we get 5.9 million, then the resolution is wrong, and so they don't put a dollar amount in there because
Nor
the
does
award could be different.
It doesn't state that you're using it for the hybrid buses. It just says rolling stock, equipment, and services.
Correct, yep, that's the language that the state asks
They
for.
want that, okay.
Yep.
I'm learning.
Well, hearing that, I would make a motion that we approve this application.
You are moving that we approve Resolution 2022-7, the Rebuild Illinois Capital Assistance Program. Is there a second?
I will second, and we'll have to wait until Bruce gets off the phone so we have a quorum.
We got 4.
Oh, we don't need Bruce?
You can take the vote with 4.
Bruce is a guarantee. Okay, so where are we? We've been moved and seconded, right? Okay. So we have to have a roll call vote. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Delgado,
Yes.
Fasella,
Aye.
Hannon, Nudo,
Yes?
Chaplin.
Yes, the motion carries. The next item is the semi-annual review of closed session minutes. Seems like these come closer and closer together. I thought we just did this, but the message says it's from last January was the last time we did.
Yeah, every 6 months we do it, so, time flies when you're having fun, Margaret.
Right.
So this is just the, this is our annual process twice a year. Every 6 months, we review closed minute sessions to see if we can release them. This time, we are releasing everything except for two sets of minutes, and so that really clears the docket. So maybe in January, there won't be any activity because I think we'll probably be holding those two confidential past then as well.
I need my memory refreshed. Do we vote each section separately, or can we vote all
Correct.
three sections?
Each one separate.
Each one separately. Okay, so we need a motion for the Part A of the suggested motion.
So moved. Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded that we that the minutes of the closed session meetings of the board listed in Schedule 1, marked release, no longer require confidential treatment and are ordered released. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Okay. Second motion, that the need for confidentiality still exists as to the minutes of the closed session meetings of the board listed on Schedule 2, marked remain confidential. We need a motion.
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded that the need for confidentiality still exists as to the minutes of the closed session meetings of the board listed on Schedule 2, marked remain confidential. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, no. I beg your pardon?
Oh, wait, must have been a doozy.
That is regarding a workers' comp claim that was settled, and that employee is still a current employee of the district.
Okay, onward. We need a motion that the verbatim recordings of the following listed closed session minutes, Schedule 3, all of which are not less than 18 months old, and the written minutes of which have been approved are authorized to be destroyed. Again, we need a motion and a second.
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded that the verbatim recordings of the following listed closed session minutes, Schedule 3, all of which are not less than 18 months old, and the written minutes of which have been approved, are authorized to be destroyed. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, no. Motion is carried. Okay. So we move on to item C, the Unit 4 Transportation Agreement, which begins on page, 39?
Yes, this is for our annual agreement with the Champaign School District Unit 4. This is for the middle school and high school transportation that we do for them. We're a little later than we normally are on the schedule because Unit 4 was in the middle of negotiating their collective bargaining